Imagine you're flipping through a history book, and suddenly you read, Napoleon once fled from a horde of rabbits, or that an entire country lost a war to giant birds. Sounds like a parody, right? But nope, these things actually happened. History isn't just kings, dates, and dusty old battles. It's full of weird, hilarious, and downright unbelievable stories that sound like something your friend made up after 2 cups of coffee. And here's the best part. Today, I'm breaking down 10 historical facts so absurd you'll swear they're fake. But every single one is completely true. And trust me, the last one, it'll leave you laughing and shaking your head at the same time. See, history has this sneaky way of surprising us. The stuff we all learn in school is only the tip of the iceberg. Behind the major events, there are wild side stories, moments that don't make the textbooks but absolutely should. Stories about armies defeated by birds, rulers who put corpses on trial, and diseases so bizarre people literally dance themselves to death. So in this video, I'm counting down 10 historical facts that sound totally fake but are real. Some are hilarious, some a little creepy, and 1 or 2 are just straight up mind-bending. And if you stick with me to the end, you'll hear about the United States president who ended up being remembered not for politics, but for a bathtub. Let's dive in. Fact 1. Napoleon was attacked by bunnies. Now, when you think of Napoleon Bonaparte, you picture this tough-as-nails military genius, conqueror of Europe, feared on the battlefield. But here's the part history class usually skips. Napoleon once lost to rabbits. Here's what happened. Napoleon and his men were planning a rabbit hunt, kind of like a morale-boosting outing. His staff bought hundreds of rabbits for the event. The plan was simple: release them, then hunt. But instead of darting off into the woods, the rabbits charged straight at the soldiers. Imagine hundreds of fluffy little furballs hopping aggressively toward the most powerful man in Europe. Turns out the staff had accidentally bought tame farm rabbits. The kind raised for food, so when they saw people they thought, oh good, it's feeding time. They swarmed Napoleon, climbing his legs, his boots, even his carriage. The great conqueror of Europe? Running away from bunnies. You can't make this stuff up. And believe it or not, that wasn't the only time animals humiliated world powers. Fact 2. The Great Emu War of Australia. Flash forward to 1932. Australia had a problem: emus. Yes, those giant flightless birds. Farmers were furious because emus were trampling and eating their crops. So what did the government do? They sent in the military with machine guns. Now you'd think this would be over in minutes. But nope, the emus were surprisingly fast, darting in all directions. Soldiers wasted thousands of rounds of ammunition and barely made a dent. The birds scattered, regrouped, and kept coming back. At one point, a commander admitted, "They've got us, running rings around us." After weeks of embarrassing failure, the military gave up. The emus had officially won. To this day, people joke that Australia is the only nation to lose a war against birds. But sometimes it wasn't animals making history absurd. Sometimes it was human leaders being, well, completely unhinged. Fact 3. A pope once put a corpse on trial. Let's rewind to the year 897. Pope Stephen VI decided his dead predecessor, Pope Formosus, needed to face justice. So what did he do? He had the corpse dug up, dressed in papal robes, and placed on a throne. Yes, a decaying corpse. The trial, known as the Cadaver Synod, actually happened. The living pope stood in court, accusing the dead pope of perjury and breaking church law. Since corpses don't defend themselves very well, the court declared him guilty. The punishment? Stripping the body of holy robes, cutting off its fingers, and throwing it into the Tiber River. It sounds like something out of a horror movie, but it was a real event in church history. And if you think that's wild, wait until you hear about the emperor who wanted his horse in politics. Fact 4. Caligula tried to make his horse a senator. Caligula. Rome's most notorious emperor, known for cruelty, excess, and just plain bizarre behavior. One of his strangest obsessions was his beloved horse, Incitatus. Historical accounts say Caligula built the horse a marble stable. He gave it an ivory manger and even let servants wait on it. But here's the kicker. He allegedly tried to make the horse a consul, a position of serious political power. Was it a joke? A mockery of the Senate? Or did Caligula genuinely think his horse would make better decisions than humans? Honestly, given Rome's politics at the time, maybe he had a point. But not all animal-related stories were about favoritism. Some ended in trials, yes, actual criminal trials. Fact 5. A pig was once put on trial for murder. In medieval Europe, animals could be tried in court, just like humans. And one of the strangest cases happened in 1386 in France. This was when a pig was accused of killing a child. The pig was arrested, tried in a proper courtroom, and found guilty. Its punishment, execution. And get this, the pig was dressed in human clothes before being hanged in the town square. As insane as that sounds, this wasn't an isolated case. Cats, dogs, and even insects sometimes faced trials for their crimes. Imagine a judge banging the gavel while a goat stares back blankly. That's medieval justice for you. Speaking of trials, some wars were so short you'd miss them if you blinked. Fact 6. The shortest war in history. In 1896, Britain and Zanzibar went to war. The conflict was over who would become the next sultan. When the Sultan of Zanzibar refused to step down, the British Navy opened fire. After only 38 minutes, yes 38, the Sultan surrendered. His palace was destroyed, his forces defeated, and the war was officially over. That makes the Anglo-Zanzibar War the shortest war in recorded history. That's shorter than a single episode of Stranger Things. But while some wars were shockingly short, others technically lasted centuries, without a single casualty. Fact 7. The war that lasted 335 years. Back in 1651, during the English Civil War, the Isles of Scilly, a tiny group of islands off England, declared war on the Netherlands. Here's the catch: nobody fought. There were no battles, no casualties, nothing. The declaration just sat there. And people forgot about it. For over 300 years. It wasn't until 1986 that a peace treaty was finally signed. That means this war lasted 335 years, without a single shot fired. Can you imagine being the diplomat in 1986 tasked with ending a war that started before your great-great-great-grandparents were even born? But while that war was a paperwork error, others came with some seriously strange weapons. Fact 8. Project Pigeon with birds as bomb guides. During World War II, the United States military funded a bizarre project called Project Pigeon. The idea was to use pigeons to guide bombs. Psychologist B.F. Skinner trained pigeons to peck at an image of a target. The pigeons would sit inside a missile's nose cone, pecking at a screen to keep the bomb aimed at the right spot. Believe it or not, the pigeons were really accurate. The project was eventually scrapped in favor of electronic guidance systems. But for a moment in history, America seriously considered letting pigeons control bombs. Imagine being a soldier told, "Don't worry, this mission's in the hands of birds." But not every historical oddity came from war. Sometimes it came from the strangest outbreaks. Fact 9. The Dancing Plague of 1518. Picture this: Strasbourg in 1518. A woman suddenly starts dancing in the street. Hours pass, she's still going. Then more people join in. Within days, dozens are dancing uncontrollably. No music, no party, just endless, frantic dancing. This bizarre outbreak lasted weeks. Some people collapsed from exhaustion. Others reportedly danced themselves to death. Doctors at the time thought it was caused by hot blood and recommended more dancing. Historians today still debate the cause: mass hysteria? Poisoned bread containing hallucinogenic mold? We may never know, but the dancing plague remains one of the weirdest medical mysteries in history. And now for the big one, The fact that shows even world leaders aren't safe from embarrassing moments. Fact 10. President Taft in the bathtub. William Howard Taft, America's 27th president, was a large man weighing over 300 pounds. His legacy isn't just politics, though. He's forever remembered for getting stuck in the White House bathtub. Legend has it, after one particularly embarrassing incident, a custom tub was ordered. It was so big that 4 grown men could fit inside at once. And that part is true. The oversized tub actually existed. Now, whether he truly got stuck or the story was exaggerated doesn't even matter. The image of a United States president wedged in a tub became part of history. Imagine running an entire country, making huge political decisions, and yet being remembered mostly for bath time gone wrong. So there you have it, 10 historical facts so strange you'd swear they were made up. From Napoleon's rabbit fiasco to emus outsmarting the military, from popes putting corpses on trial to pigeons almost piloting missiles, history has proven one thing over and over. Real life is often stranger than fiction. The next time someone says history is boring, just remind them that entire wars have been shorter than a sitcom episode, and that a pig was once sentenced to death for murder. Alright, now it's your turn. Which of these blew your mind the most? Was it Napoleon's bunny nightmare? The war that lasted 3 centuries without a single shot? Or maybe the image of President Taft in his legendary bathtub? Let me know in the comments. And hey, if you want more unbelievable stories from history that sound fake but are real, hit that subscribe button, because trust me, we've got even crazier ones coming your way.